up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Game of the Week show. I am Matt, that is Dan, and that is Ash.
Hello.
Episode 98. Closing in on 100 not out for TGI here. We are still outpacing our episodes with subscribers.
Yeah, it's
definitely viewers.
Didn't we start outpacing that in like episode 10 though?
Yeah, probably.
We're always guaranteed 3 views on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
These three.
No.
You don't watch it?
No, not always.
So anyway, this is a weekly video game show that the three of us do, where we get together, we discuss the latest and greatest news topics in the video game industry. We'll then also go through the new game releases for that week before each picking our favourite games of the week. So if you are a fan of video game media news, let's plays, conversations and more, you can find everything on our website, thegamerinitiative.com. And like I said, almost 100 episodes, so we're pretty experienced in what we do now, even if it doesn't show through in any form. Kicking off the news this week, Gran Turismo Sport. I thought we'd put this at the top because even though it might not be the biggest game in any of our minds, Gran Turismo is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Especially in Europe and Japan, obviously. And we are in Europe. I did look that up. I can't confirm it. For now.
Well,
we'll always
we
be.
will be part of the continent.
We will be.
Just...
Yeah. Anyway, that's... Yeah.
Tune into our political show to find out more about that. So we have a release date for Gran Turismo Sport now. It's been confirmed. November the 18th. They were keen to clarify that this is not Gran Turismo 7, which I find very, very weird. Like, just get away from the numbered things now. It's like, if you release this and then release 7, that almost says that this is a half...
It's a filler,
yeah,
as opposed to an actual game on its own.
Is that already their way of saying, this might not be great, but that's the reason why, because we're not going all in on it. Because this is their VR one. They did confirm VR support.
That is the danger, I think. I mean, yeah, it's great that they've got something coming for the VR, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
And we did say racing games VR.
Perfect. That's
fits, yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
So we'll see obviously about that, but we do know that there will be a limited edition coming for the game, of course, with every single game now, pre-order bonuses, limited collections, all that jazz. You'll get 8 additional cars, in-game currency. I think you start with $1 million, so you can then buy nicer cars straight away.
Gesundheit.
Sorry.
It's alright. Avatars, liveries. Their game director has confirmed they are trying hard to aim for 60 frames per second, which I think we talk about frame rate sometimes, and this whole 1080, 60, 30 is a kind of a bit of a stupid argument, but definitely frame rate matters when it comes to racing, I think.
Yeah.
Racing and shooting are the two games where...
Yeah, because the last thing you want is to be like, your car to be here, and then to be here, and then to be here.
Well, it's not going to be 2 frames a second. I know what you mean.
Yeah, you want smooth...
When you're still adjusting for it to being...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just want it to be smooth. I think that's the thing.
Remember, though, I mean, people... You can see the difference between 30 and 60, but I always thought this really weird. There might be... We're going to go into a scientific area now, so get your mind on...
Is this going to be actual science or like our broken science?
No, it's going to be my science, with physics with an F.
This was not on today's menu, by the way.
I thought the human eye could only see like 28 frames a second or something like that.
I have no idea.
Oh, well, that's stupid then. That ends that argument, because Ash isn't going to know.
What?
Exactly. So 60 frames a second, nice smooth experience. Full weather effects, which is kind of a really important thing in racing games now. Realistic damage, also important, these sorts of things. Really, if you're not doing it now in a racing game, then you're already putting yourself behind the competition.
Yeah.
And they've also cancelled the beta in order to work on the full game, which on the one hand you could say is good that they're putting all their efforts into the full game, but also worrying that they don't have the time to do what nearly everyone else has time to do, which again maybe says they're already maybe struggling and they want to focus everything on the game. I don't know.
And also, it's one of those things of like, if this is now being perceived as the half-assed effort by comparison, are they worried that if they put the beta out there, will that turn people off?
People will buy Gran Turismo no matter what because it's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal.
It is big, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the release trailer, which you would have already seen overlaid, came out this week, and it was all PS4 footage, like actual... And everyone was saying how, I remember when Gran Turismo was the most beautiful game in the world. and now it looks like this. And I actually kind of want to defend them in this position because we talked about it on the Battlefield Call of Duty series. You never see trailers that have actual captured footage anymore. It's all of this, you know, cutscenes, animation,
cinematic.
With the disclaimers of like actual gameplay.
Yeah, and it's like, or in-game engine is basically, that's the latest one where it's well, it's not how the game's actually going to look, but that's what the engine in theory is capable of if you were using a much more powerful PC. So I you know, I mean, take it with a grain of salt if you do think that the visuals don't look that good. The game is still, 6 months away?
It is, yeah.
This is how the game's actually going to look, but it's going to look better, unlike, anything from Ubisoft, which ends up looking worse.
Yeah. What do we have on a date for Forza? That's going to be...
It will be September.
So.
Not confirmed, but it will be September. So Forza will still be superior, because it always is.
It always is, but I'd like to see a bit more competition from Gran Turismo. I mean, they have really lagged behind, as you say, the competition over the last few years, and I think it's about time they try to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because obviously, in Gran Turismo's mind, Forza isn't competition because they're not selling on the same platforms.
Yeah.
But it is competition in the race to be considered the first choice, number one sim racing game.
Yeah.
So,
but then,
which always used to be on the consoles.
You have to ask, you are slightly limited to what you can do with a racing game, some would argue.
Well, yeah, in the fact that it's just driving around a circuit. But how good can you make that driving around the circuit?
Well, that's the thing.
So we'll just see. I'm excited. I haven't played a Gran Turismo for a long, long time. We do need a good racer on the PlayStation console, considering they've taken away Evolution and Drive Club, so we won't see a sequel to that.
Yeah.
So look forward to that.
We'll update you.
We spoke last week, or Dan and I spoke last week, in Ash's absence because he was banished until he completed Uncharted 4, which you have now done.
Have now done.
So he was allowed back in the room. We talked about who's it? Ubisoft and was it Ubisoft and Activision?
Ubisoft, yes.
Ubisoft and
you can't even function when I'm not here.
I know, it's disastrous. Ubisoft. It was EA. It was part of EA. That's why I'm getting confused. EA have now released some more details following on from last week. That's why I was trying to think of other people. So EA Part 2 is item number 2. So BioWare, we know they're busy at work on Mass Effect Andromeda.
They better be.
Need to get on with it, I think is Dan's words. According to the presentation that was used as part of the report, it could appear that they may be working on an action game as well. They were listed on the slide as that's one of the genres that they're trying to grow. We know that they're doing that big quadruple A open world game that Motive are working on, and it wasn't going to be out until 2020, did we say, I think?
Well, people are speculating it all over the place.
Yeah.
No one knows.
No one knows. It's a long way away. But BioWare in there, we know they're working on a game other than Mass Effect Andromeda, so maybe there will be more action, less RPG in their next title.
It's possible. BioWare are known more for producing RPG games, so it would be stepping outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah, because
a little bit. But then again, you could argue really more of their games lately have actually been RPG light and more focused on action.
It's the new genre.
Mass Effect 3 was definitely more of a cover-based shooter RPG than just an RPG.
Yeah. What about Dragon Age? I don't know. I didn't play Dragon Age, but
the original was very RPG-ish.
Yeah.
Then the next one was considered just too much action, and then Inquisition kind of brought it back from what I was seeing.
Found its nice balance in the middle.
Yeah, it kind of brought it back to being more of an RPG. So, but again, it was still more RPG light than heavy RPG.
I think this is the big new genre that's really starting to come in, is action and RPG, like an action RPG, like The Witcher. Yes, it's RPG, but there is still action involved. Your traditional RPGs are historically turn-based and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing these more actions, but with RPG elements, because you just need more. Everyone needs more depth to their game now, and these RPG games were always historically the most kind of in-depth, kind of detailed games.
Yes.
So that it makes sense to borrow those elements and add them to other games.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is one that I'd like to get both of you guys' opinion on. We also learned about Star Wars Battlefront last week, that a sequel is in the works. We know that they may be making a campaign, single-player campaign for this new Battlefront, which was a big criticism from people leaving it out of the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was confirmed, rather stupidly, I think, that the reason it was left out was so that they could launch the game in time to tie it with the Force Awakens coming out. So basically, they didn't have time, so they didn't make it. So, what do you think of this, Ash? Like, do you praise them for their honesty, or do you criticise them for releasing a game?
No, you can't criticise them because you've got to think. We've there was that 12-month period before the movie came out that it was just Star Wars, everything, everywhere. It was just, you couldn't escape it.
Really?
And so you can't.
I try my best.
You can't fault them for wanting to get strike while the iron's hot. Whilst it's in the public domain, you've got to bring your game out. This is a business. They've got to think of their shareholders and get those games out when they're going to make the most sales. And this game sold a lot, even though it didn't have a campaign. I still bought it. Okay, I haven't played it yet, but I still bought it on the basis that there was a lot of hype about the game. I was very disappointed it didn't have a campaign, which is probably why I haven't even started playing yet. But I think if they're going to be honest about it, then they should.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add on that, Dan, or did you pretty much?
No, I think Ash has pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, they had to get it out during the hype time. Because, for all you know, if Force Awakens had flopped, as in, if it had gone down the road of being like the prequels and just not being liked at the end of the day, then if they put that out, say, 6 months later and go, here's the tie-in game with the movie no one liked.
Yeah. The hysteria drops away. And
no one would have picked it up, so it had to come out at movie launch.
Yeah,
I agree, and I don't think it's necessarily the smartest thing to say, because everyone on the internet loves to jump on anything and criticise, and it is cool to hate the big publishers like your EAs, your Ubisofts, your Activisions. But at the end of the day, we all knew it initially anyway. They could, whatever they said previously, it's like, well, we know that there wasn't a campaign, probably so that they had time.
Yeah.
Because they had time restrictions. So at least he's been honest.
Yeah.
And
I would much rather them do it this way than it to be a half-assed campaign that doesn't work.
Yeah. Ditto.
I agree. Ditto. And he did say, that they took, because it did affect the scores. Like their Metacritic, I think, is sitting somewhere in the 70s, which isn't bad. That's good to great. But they want their games to be considered great to amazing.
They want 80 and above, really, don't they?
Yeah, so they recognise that as a shortfall, and so they're going to work on in the future. We did hear as well, just very quickly, that Unravel may be getting a sequel. The cute little platformer with Yanni that we all talked about it pre-release, and then none of us bought it.
I know.
I think it came out the same day as Overwatch. Not Overwatch, Firewatch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. It was by one or the other. I stand by my choice.
Yeah.
But anyway, possibly a sequel, not confirmed as a sequel. All they did confirm is that contracts have been signed with Coldwood Interactive, which is the studio, for them to work on their next project. So it might not be Unravel, but
has spoiled the ending for me now. I'm assuming Yanni makes it to the end.
Well, maybe it's a prequel. Maybe it's who knows?
Maybe it's a Yanni baby.
And then very quickly,
maybe it's blue this time.
from raising from the ashes. Can you kill something that isn't already alive, though, in theory?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to elaborate. We'll move on. Interestingly enough, Battlefield 1 that we spoke about nearly didn't exist in World War 1. Apparently, according to EA, when they first pitched the idea, they shot it down straight away. No pun intended. Because he basically said, World War 1 is trench warfare. That's not fun. We're not doing that. Everyone's doing sci-fi. That's where we're going. But apparently DICE persisted, and they were able to change the pitch and show it in a way that it would be fun, and EA came around to it, and now it's the most liked video game trailer on YouTube in the history of YouTube. So, okay, it's only, like we talked about this the other week.
Meanwhile, Infinite Warfare.
we
Is
said
there over 2 million dislikes yet?
probably we do say likes don't equate to sales, but
No, they don't.
It might do in this case.
the interesting thing is though, would Battlefield have got the most likes if it hadn't launched like the week after Call of Duty? Is it not just the people that disliked Call of Duty now jumping on that and liking it because it's like, yeah, it's like a double way of sticking
Of course it
to
is.
Call of
I think
Duty.
you've probably got pretty close to the mark there, I would say. Yes.
So there we go. We're all excited for Battlefield 1, are we?
Yeah, I am. I mean, it'll be nice to... I just think it'll just make a nice change. I think it's going to be refreshing.
And we know that they can tell a good story campaign still with Hardline, which was actually...
Hardline was good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Rockstar update now. This is, well, it was from Take-Two's earnings, but we're not going through all of it because we mainly care about Rockstar. Rockstar said, right before the earnings, expect new projects to be revealed soon. So we're like, yes! Red Dead 3, new GTA, Surfing H3O sequel, all of those good stuff. More table tennis.
No. What?
They made the table tennis game for the Xbox 360 when it launched.
okay.
Rockstar presents table tennis.
Oh, right, okay. Never got that one. Can't think why.
Apparently, well,
You don't
apparently
have
it
a
was very good.
360, so that probably.
Yeah, that would probably do it. Take-Two quickly stabbed us in the back with our optimism and said that no new releases will be coming from Rockstar in this fiscal year, meaning that the earliest we will be getting another Red Dead is April 2017.
Boo.
How do we feel about this?
It's disappointing. However, we know how good Rockstar are. We know that...
That's why we want it now.
I know, but we know that they continually give us free content on GTA 5 still. We know that they're bound to be working on more than one project for new titles.
Yep.
And we're probably pretty confident that obviously that's Red Dead and a few other things. I'm sure the initial workings are going on for the next GTA because they're always a few years in advance.
Oh yeah, GTA 6 is well in development,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
They probably started looking at that one halfway through GTA 5 development.
I would think so.
You got to think now
It's
that
like, what city's next?
GTA 5 came out nearly 3 years ago already now.
Just another 3 until the next one.
3 years too long. On the plus side, not Rockstar, but hopefully maybe in a similar sort of vein, we will be obviously getting Mafia 3 this year. So that's 2K's Take-Two. It's big AAA open world release for this year. They have confirmed big plans for E3, so maybe we can cling on to that Red Dead Redemption hope and
I
see it at E3.
I think we'll have an announcement because of this, and knowing we're not going to get a release before April 2017. I think they will have to announce something coming in 2017 at E3. So I think whilst this isn't great news, I think E3 will deliver some good news.
I know this came from the financials, but how often do they put the smoke and mirror stuff into those reports?
They can't really.
They can't lie because it's
They're shareholders.
falsifying
That's what I
shareholders.
mean.
Yeah.
So that's why.
That's why you know it's good data. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we heard about the Mass Effect thing before it was actually official, was because it was in their financials. They can't lie about. Obviously, if something changes, then obviously they can generally change it. But it's never. I don't think I've ever seen one where there's nothing in this year and they've brought it forward. You get stuff pushed back, but you don't get stuff.
You generally wouldn't. Yeah. I mean,
But yeah.
it's not impossible. It could happen because things do change. So let's not.
No, it's just one.
You're thinking something that's maybe still under wraps and not been announced, so therefore they don't include it in. I mean, we could look at maybe there's something in the fine print about announced games or something, but it seemed to me pretty clear.
No, I was just wondering if you'd heard of anything before where some company turned around and basically made like, there's nothing coming out because they didn't want competition to know about it, and then they just turned up at E3 or something and been like, boom.
They could. They can do what they want. It's just
but because it's in the official shareholder financial stuff.
Yeah.
I'd understand that you obviously wouldn't normally do that.
No. We did, giving one final glimmer of hope to GTA fans. also hear from Take-Two, and they said that they wouldn't rule out the idea of remastering the PS2 trilogy of GTA, so 3 Vice City, San Andreas.
Of course they wouldn't. It's more money.
But he did say, it was a really good quote, which I didn't write down, which is lazy on my part. But basically he said, if we felt that it was going to be a good thing and it would add value to it, then yes.
Yeah.
But if we don't feel that it would add value to our customers, if we were either no or kind of indifferent about it, then we wouldn't do it just for the money.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't think it's sensible to do it.
They don't need to. They've already got those games on PS4, so people are already buying them anyway.
Yeah, I see no reason to do it.
No,
but it just seems like everyone wants to remaster everything.
Yeah.
I'd be very, very surprised if they did.
I would be. I don't think
because they're already on the console.
Yeah, and they don't need to prove anything.
No. Destiny, that forgotten or maybe not so forgotten first-person shooter. Pretty big community on Destiny, and we know that there is no sequel this year, but it possibly will be coming next year. That's previously reports. So a latest report that's come from Kotaku is actually that apparently Destiny 2 has been rebooted. This sounds very familiar to the development of the first Destiny, does it not?
A little.
Does that mean all the story's being stripped out again?
Yeah.
So, but in this sense, it sounds like it might be a good thing because the director of The Taken King, which everyone regards as, was a really good update, and that's how Destiny should have been to start with.
Yeah, that's because it put everything that was in Destiny to start with into Destiny.
Yeah.
But he's now been put in charge of leading the sequel, apparently, anyway. So, make of that what we will. Hopefully it doesn't affect or delay. And I would like to think that even Activision have learnt from their lessons of, Destiny, for all of its sales, you've got to remember, it didn't get the best review scores. Now, on one side, they could say, don't care, everyone's playing it anyway. But I'm sure they will want better critical reception second time round.
Yeah.
We did also learn that we know that there is an expansion coming this year, and that new expansion now may be called Rise of Iron. Apparently it's going to be larger than both of the Year 1 DLC packs. That's not The Taken King, because that was launched on the anniversary. It was House of Wolves and...
the other one.
The other one. I'm not a Destiny player.
No.
So yeah, look forward to that this year. There is still Destiny content coming. It will include a raid and all the other jazz that comes with those expansion packs. Is it enough, Ash, to ever get you to go back to Destiny again?
I don't think so. I played through the first game, played the campaign, played a little bit of multiplayer online with friends, and the novelty quickly wore off. Really, if I'm honest, I was never one to want to. I found loot to be an absolute nightmare to get. You look at the likes of Destiny and You look at the likes of Division. Slightly more accessible loot. At least you knew what was required. In Destiny, it was very much luck whether you actually get any decent loots, and I just got frustrated by the whole thing because you could spend half an hour to an hour doing not a raid, the other things, forgotten, like a mission sort of thing, and end up just with crap loot at the end of it, and it's just like, what's the point? What is the point?
It does seem to me that even though some people have said they prefer Destiny, that the Division has really got their loot system down pretty well, I think.
Yes,
I'd say for the most part.
You have your incursions, aka raids, where you do get the best loot, the ultimate elite loot.
Mm-hmm.
Elite loot.
Elite loot.
Beep, beep. Beep, beep. From BB-8. But you can go to the Dark Zone, and it's progressive. The more rare the items, the higher up into the Dark Zone you have to go.
Normally. I lucked out on getting something very high up in one of the lower things, but I think that's a ridiculous one in whatever to chance.
Yeah.
It's worth saying.
It's all math, isn't it? It's probably the percentage of getting a...
It's just random number generating
code.
It's worth just pointing out, I haven't played The Taken King, so maybe that was better designed for The Taken King. I can't say, so...
People do say that The Taken King really did make Destiny what it should have been on launch.
Okay.
I heard nothing but good things.
Maybe it works better.
People were lukewarm on Destiny. Obviously, it's still a huge fan, but then when taking out that actually got good critical reception.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're going in the right direction anyway. I think if you see this so often where a game comes out, doesn't quite live up to the hype, but then a following game, a sequel, they take on board any criticism, they work on developing that and make the game better, and ultimately that's what you want from a developer.
Yes.
And as successful as a game is, if you make it better, it will be even more successful.
Yeah.
The final news item of the day: Batman is getting a remastered Ultimate Edition on the new consoles.
Oh, round Q, we were just talking about that.
It was
well, Dan was
about how everyone remastered everything, and here it
If
is.
I read the notes.
Yes.
We've heard a lot of leaks about this over possibly even a year. I remember talking about it when Arkham Knight was coming out, and we were saying if it comes out after Arkham Knight, then that's stupid because no one's going to want to care as much. Whereas now it's enough removed that people can maybe go and revisit it.
It is.
Is it going to include a working version of Arkham Knight for the PC?
No, that will never exist. We'll talk about bad PC games in just a moment, actually.
Okay.
But this is coming out on July 29th. It's going to be £40, so slightly cheaper than your normal RRP in the UK. It's going to include Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, which are the first two games from the PS3/Xbox 360 era. It's not going to include Arkham Origins, which is pretty much a big FU to Warner Brother Games Montreal, because obviously it's known as the Rocksteady trilogy, is what everyone always refers to it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if it's coming from different studios in the first place, does that make it harder to
Well,
put it together?
I did think about it. I thought maybe it was a licensing thing. Maybe this is a Rocksteady thing. But then I remembered, well, wait a second. The people that made Origins is the publisher's own in-house developer. Like, Warner Brothers are the publisher.
Yeah.
So if it was the other way around, they couldn't get Rocksteady's game.
Yeah.
If it was, say, done 2 by Montreal and 1 by Rocksteady, and they couldn't get Rocksteady's, maybe that's something in the publishing. But this is their studio. If they wanted to put it in, they would. I think they're trying to bury the game and make people forget about it.
The lesser game.
Maybe.
Who wouldn't?
See, I've always heard that it's lesser. I never played it. But then from other people I've heard that it wasn't actually that bad. People just decided it was going to be bad from the start because it wasn't Rocksteady. So... But there we go.
You do get that sometimes. People
you do.
prejudice because it's not from the people who made it before, so therefore it's going to be crap.
Yeah.
Like the same way everyone slammed on Halo 4
Mm-hmm.
when they went Bungie. It was like, no, you can't do that.
It's not Bungie, it's not good. In all fairness, I don't think people liked it as much.
They didn't. And you saw in Halo 5 as well that they're still struggling to find the same level of storytelling. But that's neither here nor there. The final interesting item on this is, have you seen the images online that have been surfacing for this?
For the Batman remaster?
The remastering.
No.
Looks worse than the original.
Oh.
That's all I'll say. You'll see it up here on the screen.
Does Batman not have a face now? Is he?
Well,
like,
it's
is he
weird.
like Assassin's Creed Unity style floating eyes and teeth?
It's weird. In some ways it looks better. In some ways it looks worse. They've changed the lighting. There's definitely more textures, but they've changed the lighting and they've almost like
It's more mood lighting.
they've brightened everything, which is kind of takes away a bit of
the dark city look.
Batman's carrying his own
You
spotlight
almost
around with I'm Batman.
Maybe it was remastered when it was a full moon.
maybe.
Perma full moon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are either of you going to purchase this?
No.
Unlikely.
I didn't buy the games originally.
Well, now's the perfect time then.
In fact, I still need
It
to
is.
finish Arkham Knight, so...
Yes, you do.
That's
It's a very good game.
I know.
Talking of game, let's move into this week's.
There's the gift of the week.
We've got 10 minutes before I need to be back in the home, so let's go through this very quickly. The big release this week is Homefront: The Revolution on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I say PC, but realistically, from what I'm hearing from words on the web, is that this makes Arkham Knight PC look good. So I'm hearing it's very, very bad on the PC. Obviously, I don't have it on PC, so I cannot comment, but one or two people say it, you think maybe they're just moaning, but when it's kind of a consensus, then they're probably not lying. The game has been received with mediocre reviews all around. Obviously, we know this game's had huge development issues going through
multiple
different studios. It was like the cursed game. So the fact that it's even come out to be okay, I think, is still quite a decent testament considering.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there has been. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that I speak to have been really keen for this game coming out, and I think even around this table,
these were two of you.
Yeah, even around the table, I think a lot of people have reconsidered whether they want to buy this game.
It's like
right now.
I'd looked at it and was like thinking, this is a really good premise, like for a game. It's like I want to play this, and as it was getting closer and closer, I was hearing more rumblings and so on from people going, "It's not that good. It's not sold us." It's like, to be honest, I would wait for it to actually hit and then look at the reviews properly. And so, I just cancelled my pre-order entirely. It was in Amazon's preparing to dispatch phase when I cancelled it, and I was like, "Whew."
Yeah, the problem is when a game gets reviews like this, I suppose on the flip side, it will probably go into the sale quite quickly, so you'll probably be able to pick it up for 25 quid reasonably early on. But a quick summary is it is a first-person shooter. It is set in an open world. It's set in Philadelphia, which is a nice new setting for games we don't see very often. It's kind of got alternate history. The Koreans, is it?
Yeah,
or Chinese have taken
Koreans.
over.
It's basically
taken over America.
Yeah, it works on the case of if Apple took over the world kind of thing, in the sense of like North Korea was making all the technology that the Americans were loving, and then the military started to buy the technology as well from them, and then they couldn't pay for it anymore, so the Koreans turned off the switch and everything crashed, and then they took over the country because that's how you get your money back. You just reclaim everything.
Like pirates.
It was basically like the bank came to repossess the country.
It could happen.
So yeah, it's a really good premise, and I did still buy the game because I didn't have the heart to tell the guy in the shop that I didn't want it anymore. So
he was giving you a T-shirt.
He wanted the free T-shirt. Yeah.
30 quid for the T-shirt.
No, it's like
money well spent.
One of the review things I was watching before, and like the way they were picking it apart, is like one of the individual things that it come up with was like on the fly adaptable weapons. So you could basically just like take things apart and put them together, and
that's
like you've got new things. And they were saying the controls to get it to work were so clunky that if you were in combat, you would basically die before you could end up redoing the game or redoing your weapon. Another thing they pointed out was like the lack of character models for NPCs.
Oh yeah.
Which I know you consider it a picky thing, but the guy literally showed an example of two of them standing next to each other.
And they were the same people basically.
No, they were the exact same character model.
Oh.
One was stood up, one was sat down, and it's just like, I know in the real world you get twins and stuff like that, so you could excuse it if it happens like once, like that's a passing thing. Twins, fair enough. But if you're seeing it all the time, you're literally running back and forth along the platform kind of thing, and it's like,
you still alive?
How did you get from behind me to in front of me back to behind? It's like
plot twist at the end of Homefront. It's actually Gladys from Portal who has taken over, and that's why they're moving through. You've got the portal guns running around.
But apparently shooting's quite bad as well, because like there's frame rate issues and so on, so it's like by the time you actually try and track whoever you're trying to shoot, if you're sniping, they're just gone.
Well, I'm getting more and more excited to play the game. We will have a Let's Play up on the channel tomorrow, regardless.
But
and we can have a look and see how it feels. I'll experience it. Maybe I'll go in blind so we can experience it together.
Good.
And then that's my excuse for when it all goes wrong. We don't always do DLC, but I figured we'd include it this week. Fallout 4, Far Harbor, PS4, Xbox One, PC. This is the big DLC expansion pack for Fallout 4.
Yeah. This is the third of the fourth.
It is, but this is the big one. They've released kind of like little workshop things and kind of little, but this is proper add-on story. I don't have the details of it here because again, I'm rubbish. But I remember it's something to do with it's your favourite group in the game because I remember you saying you were excited. Excellent.
Not the Minutemen. I can't remember.
Isn't
it for the Minutemen?
Isn't it for Nick Valentine goes off
Oh no, it's
Goes
Valentine.
on
Yeah. It's
Valentine,
Valentine.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's out. Obviously, if you're a fan of Fallout, it's probably now been long enough that you may want to jump back in, and this is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
Ash will.
Don't know. It comes down to how much free time I've got. I sunk well over 200 hours into Fallout 4, and to be honest, I don't know whether I really want to give up any more of my
It's
time.
quite hard to go back to big games for DLC because, like, I bought the first one for The Witcher. I haven't gone back to it yet. It's just like I'm excited to play it, but at the same time,
It's almost like you need to play the whole game again to remind yourself.
Yeah, it's like, do I want to take this save that I had at the end of the game the first time and try and use that, or do I want to take the one that I think will be better? It's like
I probably won't be picking this up, no. But unless people are really screaming and shouting about it, saying how awesome it is, and then I might consider it.
Well, we'll go through the rest of the games for this week pretty quickly. Not a huge amount to talk about, but Shadow of the Beast on PS4. This is a reimagining of 25-year-old platformer for the was it the Omega? This was actually came for. I'm pretty sure it actually came on the Omega, like over 25 years ago.
Don't know.
Now on the PS4, it's kind of like an action brawler game. I'm hearing pretty poor reviews of it though. Unfortunately, I think the only people that may even slightly be interested in it are if you were a huge fan of the original. But even then, I'm talking. I've been seeing reviews in like the 3s and 4s.
I have to say, like, what I saw didn't sell it to me at all.
No, didn't do anything for me.
We then have Connectica on the PS4, which looks like a fun little game from the PS2 era, but no, it is a PS4 game. It looks a lot like Wipeout, kind of merged with Tron.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like it's quite fun though.
And Trackmania.
Some mad scientist has basically bolted motorcycle parts to people.
Yeah.
It looks fun, but yeah, the visuals too. It really does look like a PS2 game.
Mm-hmm.
Life Goes On the PS4. This looks like a fun side-scrolling platform with the fact that when you die, your character runs back onto the screen again.
Yeah.
It's kind of
it's like
on.
it's
It's
a
like
case
it
of
never
like
ends.
your death actually helps you progress.
Yeah.
So yeah, you maybe walk onto a area which explodes, which clears the walkway. Okay, he's dead, but then your new character can now go through. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
I do like this. There's puzzle elements in the game as well, by the looks of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a puzzle platform.
And it's quite a light-hearted trailer as well to go with it as well.
Yeah.
By comparison, it could have sold it as a very dark kind of
Yeah. It looks good.
Looks
game.
good. My Night Job on the PS4. This was a 2D side-scrolling brawler. Not really anything
Set a
hugely
hospital, was
exciting.
it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
it's.
Got to save all the patients and stuff from a horde of zombies or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it
Zombie
really,
game of the week.
Yeah,
It
it
really
looks fine. We then have Perfect Universe, also on the PS4. A lot of games PS4 this week. Not much love on Xbox's side. Perfect Universe is a collection of mini games,
hand drawn,
Yeah.
black and white.
white background, black, very minimalist.
Yeah.
Looks fine, but unless you have a massive inclination to play these mini games, I don't think it's really going to do anything for you. And there's so many games that do these mini games. Like, is this one really going to be the best? I like the art style, though, like you said.
Yeah, I like the art style. I do. There's been a few games over time. I like the black and white sort of noir look to games. I think it's.
This wasn't quite noir, was it? Because it was
No,
a
it's
lot
not
more white.
white. When it's
Yeah.
white, then no, it's not quite noir.
Anti-noir.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of the Swan,
Yeah.
the Black Swan.
The Unfinished Swans.
Unfinished Swan.
The Black Swan's a movie about
I
ballet.
know it was Swan.
It's
Ballet.
also a ballet, I think.
Yeah.
Swan something.
It's right up Asher Street, all the ballet.
Yeah.
Soft Body, also on the PS4. This is where two weird snakes go swirling along a blank canvas and they kind of draw things, and as they draw things it reveals other areas of the maps and the puzzles it needs. Ultimately, it's a puzzle platformer with two snakes that crawl around the screen.
Is it bad that when I saw that title I expected it to be a Japanese game?
Soft Body, in what respect?
I don't know, I just expected it to be some Japanese-esque
Another beach volleyball.
or something. Yeah.
No, but that's Supple Body. We then have the Viva X Vivo.
Vivo.
I am. That's a real tongue twister. Say the whole thing. It's a tongue twister.
Viva X Vivo.
Yeah, it's Viva X Vivo.
Right, fine. You're hosting next week. This is a survival microscopic game, or as Ash likes to call it.
Well, no, me and Dan
We
both
both-
agreed.
Alien sperm
It's
simulator.
an alien sperm simulator. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. If you're a fan of alien sperm, this is the game for you.
It appears the sperm is lost.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he's on a strange planet. He doesn't know where he is.
No, he took a wrong turn in the body somewhere because he's running past synapses and the bloodstream and
Yeah. It's not the normal
Lights.
anatomy that he's familiar
It
with.
should not be that far north. Yeah.
I was going to say something there, but I decided to rein it in on the fact that, I don't want to get the explicit translation on the video. We
maybe
have
he's
one.
journeying south.
We haven't used our little blur out and
Bleeps in a while.
our bleeps for a while. Yeah.
We haven't been censored by Australia in a long
No.
time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We have Wild Arms 3 on the PS4. This is a RPG game from the PS2 era. Basically, another one of these PS2 imports onto the PS4. If you're a fan of it back then obviously this would be a nice addition to you. Trophy support, upgraded upscaled visuals. Not
I was gonna say
upgraded.
upgraded.
It's upscaled.
It is upscaled, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like putting a DVD into a Blu-ray player. It doesn't make it HD, but it does look slightly better. And then the final one, the only other game on Xbox this week other than Homefront, is Cubicolor, which is a cube with many colours, but it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
It's very aptly named.
Yeah.
Looks quite intense.
Yeah.
It scared Ash a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's just, looking at it, you think, it looks fairly easy, and then the levels really do get difficult.
As with any puzzle game. So that's it for the video games of this week. We do have possibly technically Overwatch launching today at the time that you watch this video. The official release date is supposed to be tomorrow, Tuesday, which is why it'll be in next week's video. But some people have been saying that they may actually turn the servers on a little bit early because Australia get it early, so they want everyone in the world. So it's going to be like midnight Australia, which is
Sometime
2 o'clock
time,
or whatever it is. So look out for that. Probably by the time you've watched this video, it will be live if you're keen. But excluding Overwatch, which will go in next week's list, what is your pick of the week this week, Dan?
I wish I could have said Homefront the Revolution, but no, it's just fallen way off my expectations, it seems, by what's come out. Life Goes On.
Yeah, that looks like a fun game.
Yeah.
Agree? Life goes on?
I'm gonna still represent Homefront.
Because you bought it.
I've bought it, and I'm just holding on to this last faint hope that it might still be okay. Disregarding the technical limitations, I'm just hopeful that maybe the story might still be at least half decent.
Yeah.
Some people have said. So I've read one review where the campaign was a positive, and then another person's second kind of sub headline was basically that the 20-hour campaign was a massive struggle because it was so mundane and boring.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
well,
the thing.
who's
From
right?
what I've
Who's right?
seen as well, it's a case of yes, originally the campaign is interesting. You then get bogged down of, you've got to complete all of these before you can move on, kind of thing. So it then becomes the mundane, repetitive crap.
Yeah, the game
Before it then picks up again for the new area, and it's things like that, which is what can really damage a game.
Yeah. I would say, I wouldn't recommend everyone go out and buy it. I would recommend you watch videos like our one that will be up tomorrow. You read reviews and you kind of decide for yourself whether or not
This one's you have to make an informed decision on.
It's not an Uncharted, which we can all easily say is. I assume that was your pick of the week for last week,
Of course.
even though you didn't. Do you want the full list?
No.
Okay. So that's it for this week. Next week we move on to episode 99. Just one more till episode 100. So getting exciting. Don't know what we're going to do yet for episode 100.
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing.
Maybe a cupcake.
I might wear a shirt with a collar. There you go.
No, you
Dress
won't.
up.
It'll be too warm.
So that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Let us know down below if you're excited for Gran Turismo Sport, what you think, or when you think we will finally see a new Red Dead, BioWare making more action games. If you have played Homefront, let us know down below. Let us know what your experiences are of the game so far. But for now, Dan, Ash.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you as always. And everyone out there, thanks for watching. We will see you all next time.